Hello everyone and welcome to our Early Years Taster session this morning. Great to have you with us. We are Best Practice Network. If you haven't heard of us, we are the leading early years apprenticeship provider. So today we are going to run a free taster session just to give you an insight into what it's like to do an early years apprenticeship with us. The session today is designed for people interested in level 2 early years practitioner and level 3 early years educator apprenticeships. And we have our apprenticeship curriculum manager, Emma Redding, who's going to do an introduction on the apprenticeships and how they're delivered. And we also have one of our tutors, Charlotte Fowler, who's going to take you through a session on child development. There'll be time for questions at the end, so if you think of any questions, you can pop them in the chat, or you can just come off mute and just talk as well. Right, I'll hand over to you, Emma, to get us started.
Great, thank you, Sarah. So, as Sarah mentioned, I'm Emma Redding and I'm the curriculum manager for Early Years Teaching Assistant and Play Worker Apprenticeships at Best Practice Network. I'm going to be talking you through a bit about our Early Years apprenticeships, how they're all delivered, what they look like, and then I'll be handing over to Charlotte, who is our amazing Early Years virtual classroom tutor, and she's going to just be giving you a bit of a taster of what one of our sessions are like. Please do feel free to, in the taster session element, to get as involved as possible. We are recording, but we are only recording this first section. So when we get to the taster session part, I will stop the recording so that you can feel free to pop cameras on and speak up if you want to engage in the session. So please feel free to get as involved in the session as you can. So before we go on to the taster session, I will start by just giving you a bit of information about apprenticeships. So an apprenticeship is a learning program that you complete alongside working, and it's a really great way of applying all of the knowledge that you're learning from your program into practice from working alongside studying. An apprenticeship is made up of different components. There's a standard, which is knowledge, skills, and behaviours. So throughout your apprenticeship tutor will be assessing and helping check your knowledge, skills, and behaviours, making sure that you are developing all of the knowledge, skills, and behaviours that you need as an early years practitioner. There is maths and English functional skills requirements for apprenticeships depending on your age. So every learner who hasn't achieved maths and English at grade 4 or grade C or above GCSE has the opportunity to complete maths and English functional skills, and they are mandatory for apprentices who are 16 to 18 years old. We strongly recommend apprentices who need the maths and English to who haven't yet achieved that to take the maths and English functional skills, even if it's not a requirement, just because it is something that will support you with your career development. There is something called off-the-job training that apprentices require. So every apprenticeship includes off-the-job training. That's 6 hours per week for a full-time apprentice, and it basically is any time dedicated to your learning in the workplace. So it could be time out of the room completing your virtual classrooms and completing your learning. It could be time within the room looking at policies and procedures, shadowing and observing others, or working with your mentor. So as an apprentice, you would be entitled to that 6 hours per week dedicated to your learning. When your apprenticeship gets to the very end, you will complete something called Gateway. So this is basically a meeting to say that you are ready for your endpoint assessment. So it's a meeting with your apprenticeship tutor and your employer, where you all agree that you are ready for endpoint assessment. And the endpoint assessment at the end of the programme is made up of two different components. I'll go through this for the individual apprenticeships on the next slide. But basically, it's you will have an assessment with an external endpoint assessor who will then complete your final assessment for your apprenticeship. So that's an overview of how an apprenticeship looks. I'll just show you a bit more about both the level 2 and level 3 early years apprenticeships that we have. So you can see they vary slightly in duration. For the level 3, you get a little bit longer to do it, 15 months, whereas the level 2, you get a maximum of 13 months on programme, both with a 3-month endpoint assessment window. The functional skills maths and English requirements differ slightly. So the English and maths for level 3 is a slightly higher level at level 2 maths and English. The level 2 apprenticeship is ideal for those who are new to early years or just not quite ready for level 3. So if you're brand new to a setting or haven't worked in early years before, the level 2 is an ideal starting point. The level 3 is for those that have usually got a bit of early years experience and are ready for that slightly higher level of study. And it supports in meeting the level 3 ratios in an early years setting. So we can support you with identifying which apprenticeship is right for you if you're not sure. The endpoint assessments for these are detailed on the screen. So for both of these apprenticeships, there will be a professional discussion at the end of the apprenticeship with a portfolio of evidence. For level 2, you would have a multiple choice question test, whereas for level 3, there is an observation and questioning session. So just a slightly different endpoint assessment depending on what the apprenticeship is that you choose to take. So that's just a brief overview of what our apprenticeships look like. Just going to go over a bit about what the benefits are of our apprenticeships. So the apprenticeships really support the development of practitioners to help them to excel in their role, particularly through being able to apply the learning to practice every day in the workplace. They're really designed to help you to be the best you can in your role and apply that theoretical learning into practice in your workplace. They provide a fully recognised qualification, so our apprenticeships are in line with the YFS and ratio requirements. So it's a great way of getting that fully recognised qualification. It offers a route into higher education whilst working, and I'm going to go through on our next slide a bit about our progression route and the possible progression route that you could take into higher education whilst working and gaining practical experience. So it's an ideal alternative to university without having to pay lots of fees. And it helps you with developing your confidence, communication skills, and supports your wider learning. So our apprenticeships are designed not just to develop your knowledge on the apprenticeship, but also to develop you wider as an individual, help you to develop your confidence and those vital skills that you need in the workplace. And it's an opportunity for you to gain a fully funded qualification. There's nothing for an apprentice to pay, so an apprentice will never be asked to pay any part of their training. So that's a real benefit of completing one of our apprenticeships. They are 95% government funded. For a small medium employer, the employer pays 5% of the cost, or for settings that pay into the apprenticeship levy, they will pay through their apprenticeship levy. So it's all fully funded for an apprentice. So just looking at our early years apprenticeship progression routes, as we've mentioned, we've got early years practitioner level 2 and level 3. You don't have to complete level 2 before level 3. It's all down to the individual requirements and what's best for you. So we will support you if you're unsure of what the correct level is for you. So we've got early years level 2 and 3. We also have early years lead practitioner level 5. This is designed for those in a leadership role and is an ideal next step after completing level 3. If you want to go into leadership and management, it's an ideal next step. We can also advise you on how to go on and complete a top-up degree in early years. This isn't something that Best Practice Network deliver, but this is something that we can signpost you to a university that we are partnered with to complete a top-up degree. And then you can also, if you wish to, once you've got your top-up degree, you could come back and complete the EYITT, Early Years Initial Teacher Training with us. So that is just one of the many different routes that you could take from completing our apprenticeships. There's lots of different things you can do with the apprenticeships, but if you want further study, then that is a progression route that you could take. So what does our delivery look like? You're going to see a bit about what our virtual classrooms look like in a second with Charlotte, but I'll talk you through what our overall delivery will look like. So we have a blended programme of face-to-face and online study. So there's a mixture between online independent learning, virtual classrooms that you're about to take part in one of our taster sessions for. We also have a mix of face-to-face and online visits with your apprenticeship tutor as well. Your apprenticeship tutor will complete reviews with you, so progress reviews every 4 to 6 weeks to make sure that you are progressing as well as you can with your apprenticeship, and will work closely with your employer as well to make sure that you're given all the support that you need to progress. There's specialist one-to-one tutor support available, so where required, we have maths and English tutors, and we also, all of our tutors have that specialist expert knowledge within early years as well. So you're given that specialist support all the way throughout. We also have our BPM Boost programme. which is our personal development, career information, advice and guidance and welfare programme. So you have access to a range of different classes on topics such as resilience building, British values. We had one this morning on volunteering and community minded, working with your community. We have podcasts which you can listen to as part of our BPM Boost programme, and a range of different resources you can access to support your career development and your wellbeing. We also encourage you to reflect on your learning and your practice regularly throughout your apprenticeship, and we encourage a strong partnership between us as the training provider, your employer, and you as the apprentice. So that's how our delivery plan looks. I'll go now into, before I hand over to Charlotte, just talking you through a bit about what our virtual classrooms are. So as a part of our apprenticeship, you will attend virtual classrooms. We ask our apprentices to attend one virtual classroom per month in line with the module that they are currently completing. Our virtual classrooms are designed to be really engaging, really interactive, and for you to have the opportunity to discuss things with different apprentices, to share the expert, to gain the expert knowledge from your apprenticeship tutor, from the tutor that's delivering the session as well. So they're an ideal opportunity to discuss and get really involved and really engage with the learning. We have got obviously our little taster session that Charlotte is now going to lead, and she's going to walk you through a bit about what our sessions look like and demonstrate some of our how our sessions run. I will, at that point, I am going to stop recording the session. So I'll stop recording so that Charlotte can do her